What did you make of the performance tonight?
Yeah, well, I think we're building belief, Shane. We want to be a team that's hard to play against. We probably left our run, a little bit too late. They're a bloody good team, aren't they? They're well balanced. They punish you hard on the turnovers. They've got some really strong, fast play, and defending that is really difficult. Having said that, I thought our guys stuck to the task really well, and gave it a real crack in that last quarter. We've been probably fairly criticised for our last quarters, and to have that sort of effort and drive in the last quarter to 19 inside 50s, 12 shots on goal, I thought was quite pleasing.
So where did you think you took the biggest steps, I guess, compared to obviously round 3? It was quite a different story, but tonight much more competitive. Where are the biggest steps in that period of time?
I think you have a look at our last month, mate. We've taken steps in the last month. It's not only tonight. Since the bye, the GWS game, Brisbane game, Gold Coast and tonight, I think we've been way more consistent. Even tonight, I thought, the response in certain time frames within the game looked like it was getting away from us a little bit. Doggies have got great capacity to score quickly. We thought we activated our defensive layers well at times to try to restrict that flow. We slowed the ball down a little bit to try to just maybe take a bit of the heat out of it, and then last quarter we tried to shift it up a gear and play with a bit more speed. So I think that learning, mate, of how to respond in different time frames when the game needs to be played at a slightly different level if you don't quite have it on your terms is something that the guys have responded to really well in the last month.
Cam Zerha continues to play well up forward. Pretty exciting tonight, and some of those set shots were fantastic as well. What did you make of his performance?
Yeah, he continues to impress. He's really understanding the role, as a strike forward up there. He's a capacity not only with scoreboard pressure. I think his physical pressure and his tackles, ground balls. I thought that was. He led the way really well up there. What helps is better delivery. So when we get our ball movement, better and more consistent through games, then that allows him to execute some of the patterns that I think Heath Uni's done a really good job with him through that learning. So he continues to drive that consistency, which is what you need from your forwards, and take your chances in front of goal.
You spoke about ball movement inside 50. You only had 2 marks inside 50 in the first half, and Dogs have finished with 19. You finished with 13 in the end. But was that the ball movement you were talking about at half time?
Yeah, it was, Damien. I think we still want to use the corridor where we can. And obviously when teams own that from a defensive perspective, it's difficult. So your entries tend to be a little bit wider. We thought that we were. And that forces you into long shots. We felt we had too many long shots at goal as well to be able to put some scoreboard pressure on. When we started to take that shorter, little bit more obvious target, that seemed to help our forwards as well as sort of connecting that ball in that 50 to 70 zone. The first half we probably launched from too far away. So I think it was relative to our ball movement. And look, last quarter, as I said, the high volume of entries, but we just couldn't quite put enough scoreboard pressure on in the end.
Just been watching Eddie Ford doing some running around out on the ground out here. How do you weigh up that balance with picking a debutant and then he's in the sub role? It's a bit different this year, obviously. How do you work through all that?
Yeah, well, I consider it as a spot of 23, not as 22 and a sub. I think you need to pick your best 23. Which we did with Charlie Lazaro when he debuted early in the year. He was able to get on, and I think if you talk to all the young guys, they're pretty keen to roll the dice and take that chance. But it's a great experience for them. Whilst they don't get on the ground, they sit there in all the meetings, they train, they warm up. When you pick them, we're picking our guys on the expectation that he's in the best 23 for the week. So. Yeah, frustrating because you'd like to be able to activate him and bring him into the game, but the last 5 weeks, we haven't had to use that sub. So, but look, I still think it's a terrific experience for those guys where we're at.
Do you have much insight on what next weekend looks like?
No, not completely sure yet, Damien. I think You know, the AFL's still waiting for some government protocols to drop, so we're unaware. Obviously, it'll be West Coast, but we're just not sure when and where at this point, mate.
David, you're starting to get a bit of depth in selection. I think Jared Polak's had 2 games back now. Jed Anderson came in the VFL today as well. So it's good to see a bit more pressure on selection there.
It is, yeah, no doubt, Jonathan. We weren't fortunate enough to have that pressure early in the year. The VFL guys have been going really well. You know, Gavin Brown and Lee Adams have been doing a great job with those guys there. It was a pretty close game again in the VFL against the Doggies today. So, you know, Paddy Walker's been one that's been continuing to sort of impress a bit as well. Tommy Campbell, you know, played another good game today. So, yeah, it's great that I think this week we had 40 on the track, you know, from a training perspective. So that's our best number for probably 6-7 weeks. So, yeah, really important that you have that heat for selection.
David, Taron Thomas tonight, quite impressive as well. I think he might have had career high disposal tally. What do you make of his performance?
Yeah, really good, Shane. He had quite a first half, but he's learning how to not drop out of games completely. You know, there's some effort, you know, that we're seeing in his game pretty consistently. I thought he was able to stay in the game in the first half with some pretty good defensive run. Ended up with 5 centre bounce clearances, so he's becoming a pretty integral part in that area. Look, and I thought, to sort of broaden that, I thought that middle tier group of our guys, you mentioned Zurhaar, I thought Jai Simpkin was fantastic tonight, LDU, I thought Luke's game was really solid, and you throw Taron into that. You know, we're really, and, you know, throw Ben into that, buckets. That middle tier group has been really impressive in the last month. They've, I wouldn't say they're necessarily leading the way, but their level of consistency is at a new height for us.